Hello there everybody, welcome back to Try New Things, where today we're going to do something we've never done before, not only on this channel but ever. So I'm down here by the creek today and I'm standing underneath one of the black walnut trees. And this is a black walnut as it falls from the tree. So not only have I never harvested black walnuts before, I've actually never tried them before, so that's going to be a new experience. But we do have a couple of black walnut trees here on the property. They're all over the place in this part of Kentucky. Even if you don't have black walnut trees at home, I'm betting that if you're in an area where black walnuts grow, you could go to a park, take a couple buckets, fill them up pretty quick, and try this at home as well. So the first thing we're going to do is get a bucket and fill it up with these, and then we'll start processing them. So stay tuned. Black. Alright, so now we've picked up a whole bucket of black walnuts. The next thing we have to do is separate the husk from the nut. Now I've watched a couple YouTube videos, and what I saw some people do was stomp on them. Some people said you could even drive over them to separate the husk from the nut. They're not like your English walnut. They have a really thick shell, which makes them really tough and hard to crack, which we'll figure out later. I think I'm going to try the drive-over method using the RK25's front tires. If that doesn't do it, we'll go with the back tires. Another thing they highly recommended is wear gloves. Think walnut stain, and that's what these nuts do. They stain. When you're opening up the husk, that can get all over your hands and keep them a different color than you may like for quite a while. So I'm going to go grab an empty bucket for the husks, and I'm going to grab some gloves, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll try driving over these walnuts. Well, the RK25 certainly did the trick in squashing those black walnut husks. They look pretty much like rotten baby food on the inside, but there is a nut on the inside of each of these. So we're going to separate the nuts from the husks, and then we're going to go to the washing phase. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a close-up of the black walnut as it comes out of the husk. So after you've got the nuts separated from the husks, they do look pretty disgusting, and it's important that we rinse them thoroughly and clean them off before we dry them. So again, I've never done this before, but I'm hoping a paint mixer will help speed up that process. So I'm going to give that a try, see how that works, stirring up these nuts and cleaning them off. Already the water is the color of butterscotch, and that's just one rinse. So hopefully you'll be able to see it when I pour it out. We're going to give it some fresh water and try it again. But yeah, I can see how this could definitely stain. Okay, the next step, now that we have them rinsed, I think I rinsed them 6 times in total. But what we got to do now is dry them thoroughly. So I'm going to start by taking advantage of the nice day we got today. Put them out here on this concrete slab. And then tonight I'll gather them up and move them inside the barn. But let's get these spread out and get them into the sun and start that drying process. Now this is also a good look at the quantity of nuts you end up getting. So I started with 3/4 of a 5-gallon bucket. And then now that they're all husked and clean, this is what you get. So pretty good for a snack, but you're going to want to do many buckets of these if this is something that you enjoy. But anyway, let's let these dry out. We'll come back and check on them in a couple days when they're dry, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody, it's time for a quick black walnut update. We washed these and dried them out in the sun on Sunday. Today is Wednesday, so it's been a few days that they've been in the garage out of the weather to dry a little bit further. I'm going to give them until this weekend, and then we're going to crack one open and see how hard that process is going to be. But then try and eat a black walnut for the first time ever. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss the end of this video. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's actually now been about 3 weeks since we harvested these black walnuts, and they are pretty dry. Today what I wanted to do is try to crack these open and actually try a black walnut for the first time. So let's go through that. We'll start with this big one here and see if we can't get into this black walnut. Now my tool of choice today is this hammer, and because they're a lot harder than the walnuts you get at Christmas, the English walnuts. And we're going to try giving it a crack on the point and seeing if we can break it open. Now what I don't have is a little pick to dig out the nut meat very much, but I just want to do one to try it, and then we'll take the rest home and we'll crack them open and harvest some walnut. So let's get going here. That is a hard nut. Well, that opened her up. I should have wrapped it up. So there, we got it into quarters easy enough. This is where one of those lobster picks would come in handy. Get the nut out. Here we go. My first piece of black walnut. There's another good looking piece. Actually, that looks just like the walnuts you get at Christmas, the English walnuts. But we're going to give it a try here. 2 pieces of walnut. You know, they're not all that bad. My first thought was it doesn't taste quite like a walnut, but then the taste catches up to it, and it actually does. It's a lot stronger than an English walnut in flavor. So thanks everybody for joining this episode of Try New Things, where we went out on the property, picked up some black walnuts as they were falling off the trees, dehusked them from the nut, dried them out, and today we actually cracked them open, tested them. And they do taste pretty good. They're definitely a little bit different than what I'm used to, but they're actually really, really good nuts. So I'm going to take the rest home, and we're going to crack the rest of these nuts open and harvest the nut out of them. And just wanted to prove to anyone out there that it's really easy to do. If it's something you haven't done yet but thought about doing, go ahead to the park, go out on your property, pick up a bucket of these nuts and harvest them yourself. It's really easy to do. From what I heard on the internet, what you want to do though is, if you're not going to eat all the nuts right away, keep them in their shell and store them in a mesh bag, and they'll keep for months and months and months until you want to eat them. So that's going to be it. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. And as always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.